So I've talked before about a couple of the things to look out for when you are doing tap handle collecting. One of the items that I'd mentioned in a previous video was sticker relabels. So like with this Dos Equis one, if you go back, you'll be able to see the original label that was on it. But for this video, I wanted to touch on Revolution Brewing tap handles, particular versions or variants of them. I've got this one right here. I actually have another one right here. These are both actually the same variant of the tap handle with different color variations on them. And there's a couple of things to look out for with the Revolution Brewing tap handles for this version. So I wanted to point out a couple of details with them. And the key thing with them is how they were actually produced. So if you look at this here, you'll notice that this is actually like a sticker here with one of their older versions of this style of tap handle. It actually had a enamel, I believe, that they had done in there. So it was wood carved and it was done with enamel. I can't remember who produced that version. I don't think I had seen that one in the box before. I had seen their smaller one in the box before I picked those ones up. But this is a more recent version. One of the things that is similar is it does use a magnetic panel here. So for the different labels, they've got the magnetic little elements that go in there for the different beers, and those will attach to that panel. But what I want to show is I want to show what will happen to these ones over time if you're not careful with them. So with the older ones, the big style ones, they were actually wooden. They were relatively heavy, but also relatively durable. And I've got a little surprise for you. This one I actually received as part of a collection from another collector, and it was already broken. And so you'll see right here, this is a relatively small layer. And obviously, if it was something where it was still in good condition, you wouldn't want to do this to it. But if you push down here, you'll see that it just moves. There's so once it does have like an initial damage or crack on it, then that will just flex and it's not that hard to damage it more. So with these ones, you do want to be very careful. If you're getting this style of it, then you want to check and see if there's any damage. I want to show some lighter damage that you'll see on this one. So like I mentioned, these are the same kind of tap variant. So the color is a variation, but the actual tap design is a variation as well. With this one has lighter damage on it, but it's the type of thing that I personally wouldn't give this to another collector. If I didn't want it anymore, then I would just give it as a freebie or just toss it, because you'll see that you do have some damage up here. And because of the fact that it is a lighter material there that's really just a single outer layer, then that means that this won't hold up as well. One of the things that you would notice with the wooden ones, and I'll show in another video one of the wooden ones, is that sometimes you'll get damage around the star, you'll get a little bit of light chipping and stuff like that, but the tap itself will hold up very well. With these ones, if you see any damage on them, I personally would avoid them, because that will mean that they won't hold up well. If you are getting it directly from the brewery, from Revolution Brewing, they normally will sell a couple of their tap handles directly on the shop. So if you are buying it directly from them, it's normally going to come in a box with padding, so that means it'll be safe. But if you are using it in your home bar, then you want to make sure that you have it up on a safe display, that you're not like throwing it in a box, because if you're throwing it in a box, then it can become damaged a little bit more easily than the wooden ones. One of the things to look for with these is this star here. So like I mentioned, this one is essentially like a sticker or paint that is on top, whereas the other one is kind of like enamel there. So there's a variation there. And then the other thing that you can look for is the bottom of the tap. So with this one, you'll notice that there isn't any grain because it's not wood. And this is also going to be slightly more rounded edge. With the wooden ones, they're a little bit of a sharper edge in comparison to this one. So With these ones, I just want to show that damage. Like I mentioned, Revolution Brewing taps, you can almost always get them directly from the brewery. So if you go to their website, you can pick them up there. They'll have the larger ones and the smaller ones. And that's a good way to go, unless it's something where you can inspect it in person from whatever collector you're getting from, so that you can make sure it's good quality. But aside from that, best to buy it directly from the brewery. That way you're getting it new. Occasionally I'll have them in my store and I'll inspect them ahead of time to make sure that they don't have any damage. These, as I mentioned, are not in sellable condition, but if you do want to pick them up, normally they're not that expensive directly from Revolution, so that's going to be your best bet, unless it's a specific color that they just don't have in stock anymore.